Hundreds of inmates graduate after completing training in various life skills. Jungle People Peace Conference commences in Juba. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to SSBC. I am Atiang Joseph. President Kiir on Wednesday welcomed the new members of the SPLM from Uror County after joining the ruling party. The Minister of Presidential Affairs, Dr. Barnaba Marial Benjamin, says these comrades have supported the nomination of President Kiir as SPLM flag bearer in the 2024 general elections. Members of this group have fully registered their membership in SPLM and appeal for service delivery in Uror County, including road rehabilitation and installation of communication networks. SPLM Secretary General Peter Lamboth says the Liberation Party is working for the unity and reconciliation of the people of South Sudan.
They came to express full support and encouragement and endorsement of being a candidate for the elections in 2024. They discussed a lot of issues which is related to development in Uror County, connected with the lack of roads, with the issue of services like schools, health centers. They were also concerned with the destruction that the war has done in Uror County and the need for reparations in the area.
This is a great achievement. The SPLM is a mother party for all. The SPLM welcomes all who were in the SPLM at one time or another to come back to the party so that we work for progress and development of our country. We also want to appreciate our members of parliament from Uror County for the very excellent job they have done in their county for making sure that the SPLM succeeds in their county, and the members who join for the unity of the people of Jonglei State, so that by the time we go for elections in December 2024, there is peace and stability.
Economic cluster chaired by Vice President Dr. James Oane-Iga approved $65 million for geological mapping program for revealing the rock types and structures that are associated. Martin Gama Boisha, who presented the memo to the cluster, says the project would be funded by the government and phase one would be financed through concessional loan from the government of China. The cluster also listened to the reports from the Minister of Wildlife Conservation of South Sudan's participation in the Africa Tourism Celebration in Ethiopia on 25th of this month. The Minister of Livestock and Fisheries also presented a report on the United Nations Food System Summit held in Rome last month.
South Sudan will participate, and the ministry will need about 700,000 US. The economic cluster has approved the participation and urged the Ministry of Finance to release the needed funds as soon as possible. The second presentation was from the Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, and it was on the participation of South Sudan at the UN Food Systems Summit that was held last month in Rome, Italy. The report was very comprehensive and it was endorsed by the cluster, and South Sudan will continue to food security for all. The third and final presentation through a concessional loan that will be offered by the government of China. This proposal, again, was endorsed by
the girl child on Wednesday. Speaking at the occasion, Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng Dimabure described education as a key to success and the international non-governmental organizations for supporting the event. Plan International Organization Country Director Kamal Mahmoud reaffirmed their commitments to supporting girls' education and promoting their rights.
The most important in your life is education. Education is a key to a better life. Education will open all the doors for you. And let me tell you this, the boys of nowadays do not get married to a girl who's not educated. To be over them. But with you, you will be like this. So, if you get educated, your husband is educated, you will have a better family. You will be able to pay for the education of your children, you will be able to pay for their health, and for the welfare of the family. Your time will not be like our time when we take care of extended family. You find a woman is overloaded with extended family. Now everybody will get education, so everybody will cater for their own self.
Indeed, it's a big day. Indeed, it is the day of International Girl Child. Plan International, a global leader in children and girls' rights, 12 years ago, we were dreaming of having a special day at the global level where we can use it as a platform to continue reminding everyone, governments, international community, agencies, children and girls themselves, that girls have rights. Girls need to get equal. Girls have a lot of potentials. This was 12 years ago. Now we are in 2023 where we are celebrating the International Day of the Girl.
In related development, the Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Benjamin Warele, calls for a safe and healthy environment for girls' education in the country. SSBC's Emanuela Joyce reports.
Environment for girls in South Sudan to develop and participate in community and public activities.
Calling upon all stakeholders to work hand in hand with the Ministry of under your leadership to give girls in South Sudan the safe, healthy, and educated life as it is the mandate of the ministry to do so. Girls are leaders. Girls are agents of peace. Girls are drivers, a fundamental source of transformational change for gender equality. And technology is a crucial tool to support their work.
Dr. Kidani Abraham, a representative from the United Nations Fund for Population Activities, has this.
Child marriage, which is common in most communities, is a toxic product of economic inequality and gender inequality.
A girls' representative listed some of the societal hindrances to girls' sound development and progress.
We have ability to do something. People having the primitive sides of the cultures, they want to say that they want to follow the cultures. If we are to say that girl child is cool because the culture said so, that was by then. But now, how about we face the reality and we say that we are modernizing our new world of today? It will be better, and you will see the ability of a girl child doing something.
It is a responsibility of every South and development of girls are respected and protected for them to contribute positively to national building and social stability. Emanuela Joyce Nicholas, SSBC.
Parliament passes the National Revenue Authority Bill 2023 with all observations and recommendations of the August House. The head of the Parliament's Finance Committee, Chenkwath Bishok, says the bill was presented to the Assembly for amendment of relevant sections to conform with the peace agreement. In a statement, the chairperson of Information Committee, John Againdeng, says the bill is ready to be presented to the President for final approval. The sitting chaired by Speaker Jema Nunukumba listened to a briefing by the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Mary Nawai Martin, on President Kiir's international and regional visits, as well as passing of truth and reconciliation and protection of airspace bills by the Council of Ministers.
I would like to make a brief statement concerning the work done by the executive in the succeeding week. Right Honorable Speaker, as we all know that the other important organ of government, which is the executive branch of government, is committed for the implementation of peace agreement. We all learned that our able President, His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, he visited a number of countries. He was in Russia, meeting the President of Russia and discussed the bilateral relationship. He was also invited to attend the 78th session of UN Council of Security Council, in which he addressed the assembly, and also he talked about the implementation of peace agreement in regards of the deployment of the unified forces, and also he talked of the refugees and the returnees coming from Khartoum, that international community should also supplement the effort made by the government in support of the humanitarian assistance to the refugees and the returnees from Khartoum. Right Honorable Speaker, our President also talked of the arm embargo to be lifted, because it is very important for us. It is our collective responsibility to also lobby so that the arm embargo to be lifted out, so that it can enable our unified forces to take the security or to maintain the security in our respective states. That's also expected to be tabled. And also the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs also presented a memo concerning protection of River Nile and the airspace and land by the Army. So all these bills, Right Honorable Speaker, are expected to be tabled in the Parliament. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the ministers who are supposed to attend the sittings today, Minister of Mining, Minister of Interior is here, Minister of Information. They were all informed, but because of the cluster meeting today, for other ministers who are in the economic cluster, they are unable to come and attend the sittings.
There were a lot of amendments which have been made by the members who contributed to the sitting. And finally, the act has now been passed into law, and it will make its way to the President to be asserted. So definitely the South Sudan Revenue Authority Act has already been passed. That all the amendments which are reconciled with the Constitution, and also call for our document to be reconciled with the regional laws that are aligned to East Africa.
We we are going for a break. Stay tuned for more information. Welcome back and thank you for tuning in. My name is Matiang Joseph. Crossing to the Moroccan city of Marrakech, where South Sudan has been officially incorporated to the Microeconomic and Financial Management Institute for Eastern and Southern Africa. The Institute's Executive Director, Dr. Louis Austin Kasekende, approved South Sudan's membership during a meeting with the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Bak Barnaba Chol, in the presence of the Bang Governor of South Sudan, Dr. James Ali Garang. SSBC's Abraham McCann reports.
Macroeconomic and Financial Management Institute of Eastern and Southern Africa is regionally owned organization specializing in providing training or capacity building programs on macroeconomic and financial management sectors. Among others, on the sidelines of the World Bank IMF meetings,
monetary policies as well as private capital monitoring.
The organization's executive director, Dr. Louis Austin,
together with his team, and we have discussed a number of issues where they have also offered strategies on how we can improve our banking system and also the fiscal policy. Issues of debt management are discussed, and we have had a very significant agreement. We shall soon be sending our staff to this institution so that their capacities and their skills are enhanced.
In another development, the government delegation led by the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Bak Barnaba Chol, met with the World Bank Executive Director for African Affairs, where they briefed him and his team about South Sudan's economy, in addition to implementation
of forces and the due preparations for the country to move towards election coming 2024. We have highlighted on the efforts being now exerted by the leadership of the country on economic recovery.
Also, the African finance ministers and governors of central banks have discussed funding different sectors to accelerate development of the continent. Finance Minister Dr. Bak and Central
the discussions and fruitful outcomes from that meeting. Just recently, we were in a meeting with the African Caucus. This is a larger managing director of IMF.
Some of which were relevant to South Sudan, in the sense that issues around debt sustainability, issues around these issues, and the prospects are good, in the sense that a third share is going to be discussed by the IMF board, and will likely be.
That includes global financial stability. That includes global financial stability, poverty eradication, inclusive economic growth, and youth capacity building program. 10 SSBC News, Marrakech City. SSBC News, Marrakech City.
And Transparency Initiative, which promotes the good governance of oil, gas, and mineral resources. United Nations Development Program. Samuel Doe was speaking during a meeting with the Minister, James Petia Morgan, on Wednesday. In other news, Minister Petia Morgan and the Eritrean Ambassador Johannes Teklomaiko discussed strengthening bilateral issues between Juba and Asmara.
efforts towards supporting the elections, which the Honorable Minister stressed that this is about time for South Sudan to transition out of this period and to set the foundation for a democratic dispensation. And we underscored that UNDP, as the lead UN agency that works closely with the UN mission in supporting electoral efforts across many countries, we will bring that experience, strengthen our partnership with the government and the necessary institutions responsible for elections to ensure that, as he stressed, that the elections are peaceful and secure and they laid foundation for South Sudan's promised future.
We have discussed bilateral issues like the issue of Sudan. As we know and we all agreed, Sudan used to be a shelter. We used also to use Sudan as our hair. So what is happening in Sudan right now when we speak is very unfortunate. So as we neighbors, as well as we have a very historical relationship between Eritrea and South Sudan, we have agreed with the minister to work together in resolving the problem of Sudan.
The government appreciates the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees for supporting of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management Albino Kolatak was speaking during UNHCR 74th session taken by the government in addressing the humanitarian situation and on the impact of the Sudanese conflict on South Sudan and the region.
This has not been an easy task, particularly during this challenging time as we are faced with the conflict, natural disasters, and climate hazards. Your visit, Mr. High Commissioner, and traveling to the remote parts of South Sudan on 26th to 29th August 2023 provided a forum for a broad spectrum of the international actors who strive to find solutions that respond to the legitimate needs of people seeking protection in alignment to the aspirations of government and the humanitarian community. South Sudan has opened its doors to the most vulnerable forced to flee Sudan and other countries in the region. However, it remains the most unfunded country. Hence, more support is needed. We cannot shoulder this responsibility alone.
355 inmates serving their prison terms graduated after completing training in various life skills. Addressing the ceremony, the Deputy Minister of Interior, David Marial Gumke, encourages the inmates to gain skills which may transform their lives in future when they go back to their respective communities. The Director General of the National Prison Service, General Henry Kwanyagwar, congratulates the inmates for their achievement.
Our mandate as the government is not to punish you and deprive you of your opportunities to learn. Our role is to ensure that the role of law is observed and that your personal development through rehabilitation is equally gained as part of your human rights as a prisoner.
The main task of the National Prison Service, South Sudan, is to keep inmates in the safe custody and contribute to their development and eventual reintegration into the society.
From that story, we are going for another break. Stay tuned for more information. Welcome back and thank you for tuning in. Ruwing SPLM cadres have begun training in the capital, Panriang, under the theme towards 2024 general elections, building a strong and committed SPLM cadres. The area's SPLM Deputy Chairman Matuch Kwel Abur described. Secretary for External Affairs Bol Mokwang says the training is to prepare the cadres for the upcoming elections. The party's secretary for training and research and mission of the party.
اليوم مبسوطين بجية الوفد من جوبا وفد الحركة الشعبية من أجل تدريب. الغرض خلاهم يجوا هو تدريب كوادر بتاع الحركة الشعبية، دورة تدريبية من أجل رسالة بتاعت الحركة الشعبية. الحركة الشعبية عندها ميشن، وأنا متأكد كلنا في إدارة روين كلنا حركة شعبية 100%.
There are two important things why we need the training. Number one, it is knowledge. You build knowledge. If you build knowledge, you will be able to do your work. So training is very important for that. Once you have got knowledge, you spread knowledge. You don't keep it to yourself. So أي واحد فيكم هنا يكون مدرب بعد التدريب ده. لو مشيت في المغاتة وفي بوما تقدر تدرب الناس اللي ما جايين.
We are very grateful for having started in Ruwing administrative areas. We are glad that all the cadres came from the counties and the municipality. This morning we are reminding our cadres of the long struggle of South Sudanese that led to their independence. We are reminding our cadres that once we get a country like the Republic of South Sudan, it is important that we maintain
Launches construction of 100 classrooms for primary schools in Western Bahr el Ghazal and Warabi states for effective. The $2 million project is being funded by the EU. SSBC's Cliff John Ochaya reports.
Addressing the launch of the project at Lokloko Primary School, the governor of Western Bahr el Ghazal State, Sarah Cleto Rial, registered certification with the launch of
كحكومة بتاع ولاد غرب بحر الغزال احنا قمنا باقتراح وخدناه لناس بتاعنا منظمات ناس IOM وناس يونيسيف وناس WFP عشان كده هم واقفين معانا وقالوا احنا هننفذ الكلام ده واختاروا من جنوب السودان كله اختاروا هنا في ولاد غرب بحر الغزال وفي وارب فخلينا نكون فخورين ان البرنامج ده جاء واحنا ما نلعب به. We have to be serious. احنا نهتم به عشان بكره بعد بكره يجينا برنامج ثاني زياده.
The deputy governor of Warabi State, Alwel Garang Garang, confirmed the two states will cooperate in supporting the project education service delivery.
The two governments of Warab and Western Bahr el Ghazal shall work in collaboration together with this project in collaboration. They deliver that are most needed in the vulnerable community.
With the state structures, with the implementing partners to implement the project so that we achieve the aim.
Operation Gabriel Donet asserted the European Union would continue to support the implementation of the project for a better and brighter future.
The European Union delegation itself will continue to provide support to
the people of South Sudan as we continue to invest in the future of this country.
This scheme will broaden access to education and livelihood programs and reinforce reintegration and community cohesion, especially among displaced persons.
A peace and reconciliation conference between Dinka Bor and Murle communities opened in Juba on Wednesday. The conference is spearheaded by the authorities of Jonglei State and Pibor administrative area is aiming at addressing the increasing tension between the two communities and protection of humanitarian workers, church and community leaders, as well as legislators representing the conference in Juba.
There has been insecurity that has been happening where cattle keeper or trader Mangala between Magri, those cattle were raided and were taken. And also innocent people lost their life there. And in Pibor also, there was also business people that were there at that time, and youth went and 2 people lost their life. That both the politicians up at the night.
In Carrig, Governor Engineer Manimbol Malek calls for calm and patience to allow the state authorities identify the victims and culprits for justice to prevail. In a statement to SSBC, State Information Minister William Walmayom says quelling down the growing tension among Toi North communities remains a top priority.
It calls for calm and peaceful coexistence between the communities of Toi North County. To be collected from Noi, suspected armed youth to the rightful owners of Patajan Pearl, and all looted cattle between Noi and Ajaklaya could be also collected back. Number 2, His Excellency the Governor of Warab from the people of Patajan Pearl.
We have sit and we have our meeting is concentrate on collecting of the raided cow. Set the way forward to collect it back the raided cow to the rightful owners.
With the chiefs of this area to be and we are now agreed that this cattle must be returned back.
Now exploring the country's humanitarian situation, a group known as Citizens Call for Emergency Response and Rehabilitation Initiative is appealing to the people of South Sudan and well-wishers to support the evacuation of South Sudanese trapped in the Sudan's war. He's speaking to journalists in a news conference in Juba on Wednesday. The group's program Director Alea Fidencio Gabriel says over 70,000 South Sudanese are still in Sudan, waiting to be evacuated home. Gabriel says Citizens Call is seeking for nearly $5 million to facilitate the evacuation of returnees and resettle them in their respective places of origin. The group's head of information, Jok Monchol Kwal, says they have evacuated 10,000 South Sudanese from Sudan since the war started in Sudan.
Citizens Call wanted again call the public to extend their support so that we join hands together with other humanitarian actors to increase the capacity of onward transportation to up to the camp plan. Evacuation is just an activity. We have also resettlement and rehabilitation programs within that project. That's why within our project we are projecting
27 April 2023 in Kalagla Andalos. We started with 100 people. We brought them by truck, and the last truck that left Khartoum was on 7 September, and in total we have 39 trucks that left Khartoum through the efforts of this initiative, and those 39 trucks 1,940 people, South Sudanese vulnerable people, to South Sudan. And basically, we bring them to run.
And the team, I am Matiang Joseph, and thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more programs coming up.